Woman Castro, I think the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine Coast Guard understand our patriotic duty in maintaining our presence in the West Philippine Sea. With your first question as to whether the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine Coast Guard are not proactive in responding to the presence of the Chinese maritime militia, I would like to emphasize that as what Admiral Carlos mentioned, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, together with the Philippine Air Force, Philippine Navy, and the Philippine Coast Guard, when we learned that the Chinese maritime militia started swarming in Julian Felipe, we have constantly sent our limited assets, whether it's the Philippine Navy or the Philippine Coast Guard.
Dun sa ating soberanya. Hindi tayo natutuwa doon, Mr. Chair, kay Commodore doon sa sinasabi niya. Hindi tayo nasa-celebrate doon sa kapag 135, naging 25. Hindi ako satisfied doon, Mr. Chair. Kasi, so tanong ko lang, Mr. Chair, can the task force give us the real situation now doon sa Julian Felipe na kanina nga pinag-usapan natin, sabi ni Arman, 100 vessels ng China. So, sino po yung pwedeng mag-brief sa atin ng tungkol doon sa situation ngayon? And kasi nakakapahala, Mr. Chair, kasi this is our exclusive economic zone. So, hindi natin pwedeng papayaan magtagal sila doon. Or talagang sobrang panghubuli na yan. Kasi nung last meeting natin, Mr. Chair, dito sa last incident ng bullying o yung ginagawa nila first doon sa ating exclusive economics, so then na tayo ng consolidated resolution para po doon sa doon sa pinahin yung eto na naman, mas grabe po ito So, well, yung sitwasyon. So what do you think why do you think na ganun kalakas ang loob itong mga Chinese na militia or ano ba yan? People's Chinese Liberation Army ba yan? People's Liberation Army na mag-incur doon sa ating exclusive economics. So bigyan nyo nga po kami ng latest development. At ano yung gagawin natin? So kung meron na po kayo, initial lang, ay pwede namin mag-make. Mr. Chair.
My vice admiral Commander of the Western Command, is looking at on terms on the situation in the Ugan military itself. Based on our data air patrol, daily active patrol of the Philippine Coast Guard. As of our last count, there are only 20 that they are drastically reduced from a high of 125 Chinese militia vessels. There are now only 28. As I said, reacted to the patrol made by the Philippine Coast Guard. We monitored it at the middle of November. We started off with 90 and then tumaas hanggang 135 and then the Coast Guard went there on patrol. Last Saturday, it's our last monitoring yesterday, tumaas naman po now 28 only in the Bulan Philippines.
Mr. Chair, kay Vice Admiral Carlos, kailan mo nagsimula yung version doon sa Julian Philippines?
Bulan Philippines, sir, is early November, sir. Ma'am, early November, Chair.
What is this early November? Can you give us the definite date?
Our earliest ISR flight in November is 5 and 6, November 5 and 6. And then the next we monitored those about 60, and then on November 13, tumaas ng 90. And then, based on this, last is 135 with the Philippine Coast Guard report. And it's now, as of yesterday, 28 Chinese division has been part in the Korean military.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffrey. So, ang ibig sabihin po, yung 135 na ito, nagsimula noong November 5 and 6. So, when did the PCG react to this? So, anong date po kayo nag-react? Kasi, so November 5 and 6, then November 13, tumaas ng 60, hanggang naging 135. Then December 5, down to 25. So kailan po ba kayo nag-react mo?
Well, we first monitor the presence, anytime we monitor the presence of Chinese position that in part of the West Philippines, we send out our patrols, both the Philippine Navy and the Philippine Coast Guard. We jointly patrol the West Philippine Sea. When we first monitored it, there are 2 Philippine Navy vessels already in the area. So we went there, we issued the usual as our SOP, we issued our radio challenges. They have monitored their presence, documented their presence. And it was only when the Philippine Coast Guard went there on December 2, I think, December 2, that we noticed that they reacted and they left without being there. We are still monitoring their locations as of now.
Well, Mr. Chair, I'm going to be Mr. Chairman. So, 135 noong November 5 and 6, and then you reacted December 2. Don't you think late na yung reaction natin doon? Kasi paano ba natin minomonitor yung ating ECG, EEG? Kasi ito po, Admiral, by Admiral, ano na natin to eh, pag-aari na natin to eh, whether magkaroon ng Chinese vessel doon o hindi. So paano natin, sana maging proactive tayo, hindi tayo reactive, di ba? So tapos, parang, mag-1 month bago tayo nag-react. So ang ginagawa lang natin, tinitignan lang natin sila. So ganun lang may ginagawa. Ang dami na nilang magagawa with that span of base. Baka naglagay na sila ng kung ano-ano doon sa exclusive economic zone na hindi natin alam. So bakit ganun po tayo kabagal doon sa reaction research niyo?
With due respect to the Honorable Congressman, we are always in the WPS when we monitor any increase in presence of Chinese vessels in any feature in the West Philippine Sea. We are always there to communicate the Philippine Coast Guard. We follow the existing procedure to confront this presence. We are issuing radio challenger to document the presence to be the basis for the filing of the diplomatic protest. When we monitored it on December 5, our ships were already there with the Philippine Coast Guard and the Philippine Navy. Ito na nga po, they reacted when the Philippine Coast during the last patrol of the Philippine Coast Guard on December 2. But we've been monitoring their presence and regular conduct of ISR flight. Every 5 days we know where they are. All the vessels, all the vessels in the West Philippine Sea Port. We're monitoring and we are deploying forces as appropriate and response are all in accordance with existing operational guidance given to us in the area. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Hindi effective po yung ating ginagawa. So yung diplomatic protest po through the DFA, nag-file na po tayo. When po, Vice Admiral,
before you answer that, may we just acknowledge the presence of our member, the Honorable Congressman with the 3rd District of Quezon, Renante Tanugan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, ma'am, for the question. On matter of the matter of we have been filing diplomatic protests on the incursions that were reported to the Department of Affairs and that were given to us by the WPS for filing. So we reviewed the reports and given this deemed as a basis for our close for the refile.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Mr. Chair. So ang hindi na pinapansin ng China yung ating mga verbal at mga diplomatic protest. So binili po, from 135, natuwa tayo bumaba to 125, natuwa na po ba tayo? Pero nandun pa rin siya sa exclusive economic zone. So ano pa po ba yung pwede natin gawin? Kailangan mawala sila doon. Kasi exclusive economic zone natin, so parang hindi effective yung sinasabi ng existing procedure. Kasi siguro kung ibang bansa yan, siguro sa mga experience ng Indonesia na nababasa ko, pag tumutong ka kahit na isang vessel doon sa exclusive economic zone nila. Pero syempre, hindi naman natin gagawin yung very drastic, ayaw naman natin yun. Baka ano pa po ba yung pwede nyo maisip na mas tininigaw na pwede ba natin gawin? Aside doon sa existing procedure, kasi hindi na nila pinapansin yun. Yung diplomatic protest, hindi na nila pinapansin yun. Mr. Chair.
Vice Admiral.
Thank you, ma'am. For our response on the ground, we very calibrated, ma'am. We wanted to put this on the ground. That's why our responses are very well calibrated. We're just monitoring our efforts on the ground. I think that on establishing a strong network presence with the people side and monitoring the situation on the ground through our maritime domain awareness effort and also our last effective application. We are increasing our off-time on these 3 areas. Hopefully we will improve, we will change the realities on the ground. But these are all efforts that we are continuously improving, increasing the tempo until we will have an amended motion and then SOP on the ground decision.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No? So, pero yung tinatawag ito, Mr. Chair, so hindi ko nakasakatanan kung sa ginagawa ng ating kinaukulan doon sa pagkayanin ito. Tingin ko dapat mag-item tayo ng ano ba yung mga pwede nating pang gawin. Kung hindi ubra ito, ano pa ba yung mga pwede nating gawin? Kasi kailangan natin pagtanggol yung ano natin, yung soberanya. di ba? So, isang buwan, tapos nandiyan pa yung 25 na yun. So, soberanya ang usapin dito, hindi lang kung ano lang po. So, soberanya natin ito. Territorial. Hindi lang sovereign rights. Soberanya natin ito kasi sa akin po ito. So, yung 25 na yan, so, kailangan may gawin na tayo para talagang totally maalis yan. Ano po ba mapapangako na or makukumit na concrete na pwedeng magawa, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, I noticed Commodore Jay raising his hand. You may respond. Sorry, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With all due respect to the Honorable Congresswoman Castro, I think law enforcement Philippines and the Philippine Coast Guard understand our patriotic duty in maintaining our presence in the West Philippine Sea. With your first question as to whether the armed forces of the Philippines and the Philippine Coast Guard are not proactive in responding to the presence of the Chinese maritime militia, I would like to emphasize that as what Admiral Carlos mentioned, the armed forces of the Philippines, together with the Philippine Air Force, Philippine Navy, and the Philippine Coast Guard, when we learned that the Chinese maritime militia started swarming in Julian Felipe, we have constantly sent our limited assets, whether it's the Philippine Navy or the Philippine Coast Guard. That's why we were able to document the increasing presence from November until last Saturday of December 2. Now, the second question, whether
May cut there, Commodore Jay. Sabi nyo, November 5 to 6, pero nag-react lang kayo ng PCG ng December 2. So, ang daming araw noon, di ba? Nalaman kami na November 5 and 6 eh. So, di ba sabi niyo po, sabi hanggang sa bumaba siya, so 135. So, I don't believe na talagang ginagawa niyo yung katungkulan o sinasabi niyo po na enough yung ginagawa niyo para mapigil natin ito. So, I think to disagree doon sinasabi ko. Kasi, kaya nga ako tinatanong ko, no? Kailan niyo na-monitor? November 5 and 6. Tapos, bumaba siya, 50, naging 60, naging 25. December po lang kayo po nag-react.
yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair. Mag-respond lang po ako sa tanong ni ma'am. No? Ang Philippine Coast Guard po, November 13, nagpunta nun, and also December 2. Ganito po yan, ma'am. Ang deployment po ng Philippine Coast Guard at ng Armed Forces of the Philippines on a rotational basis. Kung nag-deploy na po si Westcom ng Philippine Navy on November 5 and 6, and then the Philippine Coast Guard will do their patrol on the next following week. And then eventually the Philippine Air Force as well will be sending their aircraft. Hindi lang po Philippine Coast Guard. Again, with the very limited assets that we have, just to emphasize, we only have 3 vessels in Palawan. And if you can just imagine how vast West Philippine Sea is, we cannot expect that the Philippine Coast Guard will be there 24/7 in Julian Felipe to watch over the swarming of the Chinese maritime militia. And then the second question, ma'am, just to respond to your question, are we effective in doing what we're doing right now? I think so. With the transparency initiative that we have launched since February, wherein we exposed the swarming of Chinese maritime militia, we can notice how they responded. The swarming of Sabina show before in last April when we publicized it, a few days after they left. When they did the swarming in Iraq, we also publicized it, they also left. Now here in Julian Felipe, are we going to celebrate this already? With the 135 down to 28? I think so. And then in the next coming days, we're still going to expect that they're going to withdraw.
Okay, Mr. Chair, why not? Sinasabi natin, hindi pa tayo celebrate dito. Kahit na isang vessel na nakalagay yung China doon. Ano yun? Violation dun sa ating soberanya. Hindi tayo natutuwa doon, Mr. Chair, kay Commodore doon sa sinasabi niya. Hindi tayo celebrate doon sa 135, naging 25. Hindi ako satisfied doon, Mr. Chair. Kasi, pero hindi mo dapat sabihin na nag-celebrate kayo dahil sa 135. Mr. Chair, ginawa nyo, nagda-down sila sa 25 dahil December 2 lang kayo nag-react. Well, I appreciate, no, with the limited resources of the PCG, and even siguro yung AFP natin, kayo ngayon, nag-iingi kayo dito ng more, tingin ko more funding capacity, but naman yun, pwede naman yun, at tama naman yun. Kaya lang po, Mr. Chair, kung sinasabi mo kanina, Mr. Chair, sabi ni Commodore, kailangan na, hindi nila pwedeng mabantayan yan 24 hours or araw-araw. Why not? Diba? So ano kaya tinatanong natin, Mr. Chair, dito? Ano pa ba yung pwede natin gawin? Para mapantayan natin man lang yung ECC natin. Hindi na yung West Philippine Sea man lang. Ito, yung ECC natin, yun lang po, Mr. Chair, kasi talagang worry talaga ako na tayo ay pinupuri ng China na ganito yung capacity natin. Nakakahiya, di ba? So, yun po ang Mr. Chair.
Before you respond, I just want to ask Vice Admiral Carlos, if I heard you correctly, that you likewise have the Philippine Navy ship. And by Philippine Navy ship, are you referring to gray ship? The gray ship. So, we were informed before, para hindi masyadong detention, mataas na sa West Philippines. You try to, huwag mo na nagpapadala ng mga gray ships, di ba? Because that's, parang ano na yan, combat na yan, di ba? So, nagpapadala kayo, light ship, coast guard, etc. But you said a while ago, na nagpadala kayo ng Philippine Navy ship, ano? So, in what instances, tayo pwede magpadala ng gray ships instead of purely white ships na? Kasi, I noticed when you said, Karina, when you, parang ang impression ko is when you said also a Philippine Navy gray ship, parang bumawas ng konti yung presence nila doon. So, if that be the case, anong situation? Ang pwedeng, kasi alam naman natin, ginawa mo natin eh. Di ba naman natin yung presence, lipat-lipat na sila. So, what instances can you send gray ships instead of purely white ships na? Kasi parang kinatatakot sa white ships natin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the question, sir. For the deployment of ships, gray and the Philippine Coast Guard, presently, the gray ships, the Philippine Navy ships are always present in WPS to maintain naval presence. So they were always there. We provide the numbers during the executive briefing. Just to maintain the presence, going on maritime patrol, going on sovereignty patrols, just to show the plan that we are there. That this is our EEC. We have sovereign rights over this area of jurisdiction. To show the plan, Philippine Navy will always be there. In terms of confronting and non-confrontationally driving away the militias, we prefer to use the Philippine Coast Guard, the white ships, to do that radio challenge and to ask them to leave. So if the Coast Guard is there, we prepare to use them to challenge the presence of the militias, the militia vessels. If they are not there, the Philippine Navy vessel per our SOP, we issue the radio challenge. As mentioned by Commodore Tarriela, we are on a rotational basis. We cannot keep the Philippine Coast Guard in the West Philippine Sea 24/7. Yung pong na Navy, medyo nakakapit-lapit kami sa 24/7 presence. But the number is, in terms of number naman, very limited pa rin po sir. Compared to what we are, the number of Chinese vessels, Chinese Coast Guard, and PLA vessels that we are confronting with the area. But at least, we maintain our presence there. There's always a Philippine government present flying the Philippine flag in WPS.
Our main consideration is to keep the peace on the ground and probably hopefully improve the realities on the ground, as correctly observed by Congressman Castro. The realities on the ground are not changing, substantially changing at the pace that we want them to change. It will not change at overnight. And sabi nga ni Presidente, there are no single action that we can do to change the situation on the ground. It will take time. It's a collective actions. All our strategies, our lines of effort are all designed to really change the realities on the ground. But like I said, it will not change overnight, Mr. Chair.
I agree with the observation of Admiral Carlos that we should have a calibrated response in dealing with the various incidents at the West Philippine Sea. A ship captain, a Navy lieutenant commander cannot just trigger a war with a very powerful adversary, no? So I agree with your observation that we should have a calibrated response. But let me state this, that I believe that the Philippine Navy and the Philippine Coast Guard are doing their very best in securing our territorial waters and exclusive economic zone to the limits of the resources available to them. We cannot fault the Navy and the Coast Guard if there are continuing harassments or incursions in our territorial waters or exclusive economic zone. They are doing their very best. It is just that our resources are very limited. And of course, that is not that matter cannot be addressed by the Navy and Coast Guard at their level. That is a matter that should be addressed by the political leadership of this country. So I